Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. I don't know where that come from. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from a throwaway account from the relationship advice subreddit. It does have a fair few updates to this post as well, and it's titled Wife 37 female and I 40 male are arguing about her father 65 male moving in with us. What should I do? There's a lot of background here, so I try to keep it to what's relevant. Married 10 years, dated 3 before that, and we have 2 kids. Her parents are divorced. Her mum comes from a wealthy family, and when her parents got married, her family did a lot of legal and financial stuff and prenups and stuff to keep the money safe. Growing up, her mum was busy a lot and was the primary breadwinner. Her dad really was the one who raised her. He was the one who took her and picked her up from school, who helped her with her homework and went to her shows, plays, games, etc. When she was 12, it turned out her mum had been having an affair, and it led to her parents divorcing. This is where her mum's family's money comes in. They were able to afford very good lawyers and her money had already been locked up tight. So she wound up with custody, and he left the marriage with not very much to his name. And since he had spent so much time raising her, he'd neglected his own career. He struggled after that. My wife has a fraught relationship with her mother. She never really forgave her mother for the affair, the divorce, and her destroying his life. When she was a teenager, she chose to move in with her dad. So that's a bit of background. She remained close to her dad to this day. He's been an active part of our lives, and he spends a lot of time with our kids, who both love him, but he's been struggling. COVID was really hard for him because he really couldn't work. He fell behind on his bills and he's been struggling to catch up ever since. He's now about to be evicted. My wife wants him to move in with us. She says it's absolutely unacceptable to her for him to be homeless when we have a basement we can move him into. Thing is, the basement is my space. It is set up to be my retreat, and now she wants to turn it into a bedroom for him. We've been arguing about this because she says she won't allow him to be homeless. And my point is, he won't be homeless. He has a place he can go with his sister, but she lives on the other side of the country. My wife hates that idea. She says she wants him to be a part of her and our kids' lives and not on the other side of the country. He's not a bad guy. I don't hate him or anything. I just want some space for our family. My wife's position is that he is family and he can help with the kids. She's accusing me of caring more about my man cave than the well-being of her father. That's an exaggeration. He isn't going to be homeless. He can move in with his sister. This argument is starting to become pretty ugly now, and she's threatening to take the kids and move out to find a place with him if I won't agree to let him move in here. I resent that threat. I'm starting to wonder if this is really a hill I should die on. On the other hand, I'm shocked and angry that my wife seems ready to throw away a whole marriage over this. Now, I'm not sure if this is a good take or a bad take, because I'm sure some people, will fight for their space, etc., etc. But I feel like if I was in that position and, my hypothetical father-in-law was in this struggle, my wife expressed how much he means to her, etc., that guy's my family as well. And he sounds like a good chap, and I myself have a man cave, and I would give that up if need be. No one said it was permanent. The threatening to take the kids did also rub me the wrong way. Obviously, you need to have a deep, serious conversation here. But Garden Gnome says, you do care more about your man cave than both your wife and father-in-law. Get another TV. You can hang out in your bedroom. Jesus, dude, your solution involves your wife never seeing her father and your kids growing up without him, so you can go and sit in your basement occasionally. Holy shit. Kara says, are you kidding me? First of all, before we touch on the father-in-law part, where is wife's basement-sized relaxation space? Does she have one? Second, he's a staple in your children's lives. You're willing to make that disappear. Because if he is on the other side of the country, he's not going to be with them. You'd be robbing your children of the time left with him. Third, you'd be robbing your wife of the time remaining with him. I'm so mad at you, and I don't even know you. Eleanor Likes Vodka says, are you for real? Your position would be easier to understand if you had no room, but you do. Let me ask you something. Does your wife have a space in your home that is exclusively hers? that she can retreat to in order to rest or practice her hobbies? If the answer is no, why doesn't she? Why are you the only one who gets the luxury of having such a space? Why is your man cave, let's be honest, that's what it is, more important than housing the man who raised your wife? Why do you get to monopolize a whole basement that is solely for your benefit? This is a hill worth dying on. For her. Maybe this is the first step towards realizing she's married to a very selfish man. He replied to that saying, "No, because my wife doesn't work on call in a high pressure job as a surgeon like I do. She doesn't need space to unwind after she loses a patient like I do." Oh, dearie me, dude. You tit. Pretty Green Feather says, "As a surgeon, married to a surgeon, you suck. Get off your high horse and realize you're not nearly as important as you think you are." Throwaway says, "Super simple. If you have a loving relationship with your own parents, imagine if it was your dad on the verge of becoming homeless. If you don't, then it will be hard for you to understand and you might end up in a divorce. I assume your wife will learn from her own mum and she will end up with house, kids, and a dad in the basement. Expect similar conversation in 20 years between your kids and their partners where you will end up." He replies, "I haven't spoken to or seen my dad in 22 years. I could not care less if he was homeless, and I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. For all I know, he could be homeless now and I'll just laugh and tell him he deserved it. I don't plan to see my father again until he's in a coffin, and I'll only go to his funeral and deliver a eulogy to remind everyone what a garbage person he is." And a final comment from CKM who says, "She watched her mother strip her father of everything, even her, and she was powerless to help. Today she has the chance to help because it's within her power. This is important to her for this reason alone with the other reasons you admitted to. She doesn't have to sit back and watch him suffer today. This is the reason she will leave you because you're robbing her of the opportunity to help her father today. Do not think for 1 minute that she will not divorce you because she will. You are losing the following: your wife, your children, your home, your happiness, money for the child support, and alimony. That room is more important than all of these things, then by all means say no. Not only will you lose these treasures, but oh yeah, you will lose the space anyway because you won't be in the house, but he will." So OP leaves like a mini update on that post and says, "I'm going to talk to my wife about getting him an in-law suite in our yard that he can stay in permanently and give up the basement until we can build it." The comments have helped me play out how the most likely scenarios will go. Just so everyone knows whose side you're all taking here. She's a spoiled, rotten princess who grew up with a silver spoon in her mouth. Everything she has was given to her. Between my salary and the trust fund her parents left her, she doesn't need to work, but she does anyway, and complains she needs her dad to help with the kids. I'm a surgeon, and she's an interior designer. Which one of us contributes more to humanity? She's a shallow, vapid woman who decorates houses while I'm saving lives." Nah, come on now. So, the top comment after that update said, "Why would you say such terrible things about your wife in public like this? Well, because people on Reddit are pointing out that you're in the wrong in this situation and could choose to behave better. If you actually respected your wife, you wouldn't be this comfortable putting her down publicly when you know she's going to read it. Your disdainful words about her gives off the impression that you don't want to reconcile or compromise with your wife, but that your priority was just to receive validation of being right, so that you could continue neglecting your kids without improving." So, you might have seen on the thumbnail, wife did discover this post and posted their side of things and said, "My husband is a surgeon, and according to him, he's the most important person in the world. A god among men who casually determines life or death and is far, far too important to be bothered by the trivial concerns of us mere peons. Concerns like maybe you should spend more time with your fucking kids. But oh no. You see, he works so hard and has so much pressure that when he's home, he has to be sequestered from the annoying sounds of our girls playing or, being happy to see him. My dad has picked up the slack. He's been the one that's changed their diapers. I drop them off at school and go to work. Dad picks them up and stays with them till I get home. My dad was the one who taught them to ride a bike. My dad is the one who shows up to the plays and dance recitals. He's the one that helps with the homework. My dad is the one who dresses as Santa. My dad is the one who does the Easter egg hunts and the tea parties. My husband is far too important for any of that. And despite the fact that my husband has absolutely no interest in our kids, he's still pissed that the kids are closer to my dad than him. So my dad is now struggling financially. We have the means to help him, but my husband doesn't want to. He'd rather see my dad moved to the other side of the country and removed from our kids' lives. I put my foot down, and he goes on to Reddit to whine about it. Well, now I'm here too, dear. You want to whine about our marriage on Reddit? I can do it too. And there was some comments to the wife's side of things. You know, we're skeptical on the whole post now because whenever you see two sides of things, people are always like, oh, is this real? Is this real? Whereas I like to live in my own little world. So some of the top comments with replies from the wife says, so Blades of Grass Dewdrop says, your dad's a great dad and grandpa. Your kids will know that. Wife says, the kids love him. He's been a daily fixture in their lives since they were born. They know him better than they know their father. I'm not a stay-at-home parent. I also have a job. I'm also the only parent in this marriage. Everyone acts like I'm not working full-time too, but I still manage to make time for the kids. I get the kids up and dressed for school. My dad picks them up and stays with them until I get home. Kids get out at 3, I'm home by 6. My dad is there to pick the kids up and stays till I get home. Husband has no part in this. Sad Significance says, in my opinion, his concern about the children preferring their grandparent over him indicate a genuine desire to connect with his kids. Wife says, I've heard this before but nothing ever changes. He complains and then tells me he has to go out of state to do some medical conference and we'll talk about it later. And we never do. He just text messaged me now. I have surgery, we'll talk about this tonight. Yeah, he always has surgery when we need to talk about this. It's like clockwork. It never fails. Abstract Lifeform says, I don't see you complaining about the lifestyle he's afforded you. Wife says, everyone keeps acting like it's all his money. Well, it isn't. I work too, and my family helped us with a house and his medical school debt. Overtly Girl says your family helped with his debt and he's not willing to even budge. What the fuck? Then the wife left a comment on the husband's post, which is now, all of it's been removed basically, it's all been deleted, so all this was recovered. And it said, I'm done. This isn't about the man cave or the space and you know it. We have the money to help my dad. We have a 7-bedroom fucking house with a pool and a movie theater. This isn't about space or money. This is about you being petty and jealous that the girls are closer to my dad than you. Get this through your thick fucking head. That's your fault. For 9 years, everything else in your life has been more important than the girls. You work 70 hours a week, and when you're not at work, you go golfing with the people you work with, or you're at a medical conference with the people you work with, or you're dragging me to some fundraiser with the people you work with. When you are at home, you need to sequester yourself because the sound of my children playing annoys you. You seem to conveniently forget that they're your children too. You only seem to remember that part, but I want to move my father in to help me with our girls. It's amazing how you can be so smart and so fucking stupid at the same time. You're upset the girls love dad more than you. And you're such a petty and small man that your solution is to ship him off out of our lives and break our girls' hearts. But you don't plan to actually be a part of their lives. You just want my dad gone. I won't fucking let you take him out of their lives. The family is me, the girls, and my father. Your family are the people you work with, and you're married to your job, not me. Well, you can have it. Don't come home. Stay at the hospital or go to your whore's house. Yeah, I know about her. I don't fucking care anymore. I'm done. I'm done trying to make this marriage work. I'm done begging you to be a father. The girls won't miss you anyways. You've never shown an interest in their lives, and I'm done letting you hurt and neglect my children. They deserve someone in their lives that loves and cares for them and shows interest in them. You don't. You want to drag this out onto Reddit, then fine. Let's do this on Reddit. I'm divorcing you. We're done. Go save the world. You're free. By the way, you're worse than your parents. They may have been weird and misguided, but they were a part of your life. Now he wants to talk about this in private, everyone. Now he has a problem with this being on Reddit. You're the one who brought it here, honey. Deal with the bed you made. So around 2 days later, the wife updates again and says, wow, this all blew up. I was so angry when I posted this, now I'm just drained. He came by yesterday to pick some things up and we argued. The girls were out with my dad because I knew this would be a fight and I didn't want them around for this. He said awful things, just awful, about me, my dad and the girls. After he left, I talked to my mum. We have a difficult relationship, but if there's one person I want in my corner going into the divorce, it's her. The divorce is happening. I saw an attorney my mum recommended today. I'm really glad I went through with that prenup my mum wanted when we got married now. At this point, I won't speak to my soon-to-be ex-husband. My lawyer is doing my talking for me. I'm exhausted. Thank you everyone for all the support. It helped to read comments and know people supported me. He made me feel so small and stupid yesterday, and he said awful things about our girls. I'm not mad anymore, I'm just heartbroken. Our girls deserve better than this. I really wanted better for them. I just wanted to have a family and a nice home. Now I'm just going through a divorce like my parents. I never wanted this. I tried so hard to keep all this together so we didn't wind up here, but I failed. Below that post, Opie added a comment about how they initially met and said, when I met him, he was in medical school and working as a paramedic. He moved into my apartment and I covered the expenses so he could quit working and focus on medical school full time. He didn't have a problem with me being an interior designer then, and he didn't resent my trust fund when it was paying for our apartment. Rubber Lover says, what was his self-admitted reason for marrying you? OP says, cash. Another commenter says, why not pay dad's outstanding rent? OP says, you have to understand this was not about space or money like he claimed. His goal was to get my father out of our lives. My dad leaving our lives was the solution he wanted. Any solution that kept him in our lives he had a problem with. He wasn't like this when we met, and in defense of my mum, for as difficult as things have been with us over the years, I don't question that she loves me. We had our differences and our fights, but when I need her, she comes through like she is now, and like she did with the wedding, and God bless her for her foresight in having the prenup made. What she did to my dad will never sit right with me, but she's in my corner, and right now, I'm glad to have both my parents in my corner. I don't want the girls living with someone they are afraid of. It was only tolerable because of how little he was around. Dutch says, I understand the feelings of failure when getting a divorce. It's how society and culture has set us up. I always said I never considered divorce, contemplated murder though, so sometimes failure is good. I felt I failed getting a divorce, but I felt being free from other society's demands also. You picked this man, you believed his promises. He didn't deliver on being a good dad and husband. He failed his children, you, his wife, himself, and any test of being a decent human being by bad-mouthing his children. You failed. Maybe. But without this marriage, you wouldn't have these children. That's more than a silver lining. Somewhere in the future, there might be another better suited SO. My mother, a widower, waited until my sister and I left for uni. Opie says, I don't think my failure was in having my kids with him. It was in keeping this marriage together and giving him a home and family he actually wanted to come back to. 2 months later, Opie comes in with another update and says, hi everyone, I'm back. My husband is now my ex-husband. Our state, you only need 30 days between filing and judgment. We both agreed divorce was best. He moved out New Year's Day and has never been back. My original post sort of went viral and it was reshared on TikTok and Facebook, and our family and friends wound up seeing it. My lawyer recommended I stop posting about the divorce until it was finalized. Well, the divorce is done now. After he moved out, we both retained our lawyers and most of the divorce was handled through them. We didn't speak much until we went into final arbitration and signed the agreements to bring to the judge. About a week after I retained my attorney, I had my attorney, his attorney, and some movers meet at my house to inventory everything that belonged to him, including his man cave, pack it up and ship it out to a storage unit his lawyer arranged. I didn't want to give him any reason to come after me for anything. I know people wanted me to nail him to the wall, but I really didn't want a long and bitter divorce. He wanted to go. I wanted him gone, and we both wanted it to happen as soon as possible. Turns out he was offered a job in another state, and he wanted to take and was itching to get out of here. We both had prenups that made the division of assets pretty painless, and he had no problem with giving me full custody and paying child support. I didn't need or ask for spousal support. Honestly, how little he fought for our girls was the part that hurt me the most. The biggest disagreement we had was with the house. My mum stepped up to buy him out of the mortgage payments he put down so that me and the girls and my dad wouldn't have to move. He really wanted this done as fast as he could so he could ride off into the sunset with his affair partner and take his new job. And that's exactly what he did. He got the ending he wanted. Free of me and the kids and free to be the world's best surgeon or whatever. My mum and dad both came through for me in big ways. Mum is a lawyer herself and she had set up the house and my other assets to be protected. She also was the one to get me my lawyer. Dad moved into the pool house and that's where he's going to stay. My dad is going to enjoy his golden years being pop to our girls and dad to me. I'll make sure he won't have to worry about anything. My daughter's 10th birthday was 2 weeks ago. My husband promised her he would fly out for it. I made this party a really big deal. I hired performers, rented a bouncy castle, had all her classmates over. Most of my family was there. My mum and dad were able to be in the same place and not fight. We had a really great time and he never showed up. She got a card from him the day after the party with a lame apology and a $500 gift card. I asked her if she was okay and she shrugged. She had a great time at her party and didn't expect her dad to show. She knows he doesn't love her. That's what she told me. She wasn't really upset about it either. She's 10 years old and already expects him to disappoint her. It breaks my heart. But she's a trooper and she didn't let it stop her from enjoying her day. I realized that for years I've been trying to make a home for him to come home to, but he's had one foot out the door and I've been holding his hand trying to keep him from going. I finally let go. I'm doing better than I thought I would, to be honest. And the girls are too. I don't really miss him. The girls don't really miss him. I'm not even angry about the affair. She can have him. I'm just disappointed. And we do have another update in the moment, but it's just such an incredibly shitty and sad situation. You know, it's positive in some ways because him being out of your life now is a good thing, so you can sort of like move on, I guess, so the kids can move on. But to be doing that in the first place is just absolutely heartbreaking, and I hope that OP does look into some kind of, you know, professional help just to check on the children, because, you know, kids can hide their feelings pretty well sometimes. On the outside, they may seem like they don't care, but they may really be hurting deep inside. You know, the guy sounds like he was pretty absent and not a father anyway, so it might not bother them at all, but just in case, right? But Dateline Delhi says, and quotes, the shallow, vapid woman who decorates houses while he's saving lives, right? And says the woman who doesn't need to work but does, so you have income and a purpose, right? Fuck that guy. With any luck, he gets slapped with a malpractice suit so he can really taste his own medicine. Insulin for the non-diabetic, I say. OP says he could just never wrap his head around that I wanted to work, that I like my career, that I have relationships with clients and contractors and vendors and office staff. There was a constant argument with us. There were multiple stresses that broke our marriage. This was a big one. His steady insistence I quit my job, close up my business and stay home. But I'm also a lazy, entitled, spoiled, rotten princess, so who the fuck knows? Dateline replies to that saying, it'd never make sense because it's nonsensical. I'm so happy for you and your daughters and father. You deserve good things. You're so fortunate to have them. Hope things improve with your mum. I had a rough patch with mine too, and it was the worst. Money stuff is another layer a lot of folks don't understand. OP says things with my mum are getting better, and amazingly things between my mum and dad are getting better as well. They both showed up for my daughter's 10th and didn't fight or make catty remarks to each other or side-eye each other or glare or any of it. I said it in another comment, but ironically my marriage dissolving has done more to heal the rest of my family than anything else has. And the same day, OP added another post asking a question saying, what am I supposed to tell my girls 10 and 7 about their father? My ex-husband was never a present father. He's a surgeon and spent most of his time either working or doing something with his co-workers. He was rarely ever home, and when he was mostly wanting to be left alone to hang out by himself in his man cave. He didn't like the girls being loud or playful because it disturbed him. Our daughters have always walked on eggshells around them, and he's never taken much of an interest in their lives. So we just finalized our divorce. He couldn't wait to get out of the marriage. He wanted to be done with this marriage and our kids so he could take a new job in another state and live with his affair partner. I asked for full custody and he was relieved. He didn't want custody. He didn't fight at all for them. He hasn't even seen them since the day he moved out 2 months ago. He's gone now in another state, and my oldest had her 10th birthday about 2 weeks ago. I threw a really huge party for her. I made it a really big deal, and he promised he would be there. He never showed. We get a card with a lame apology and a gift card from him a day after her birthday. I felt so bad for her. And what makes it worse is, she wasn't even upset. I asked her how she felt it, and she just shrugged. She said she wasn't surprised, and that dad didn't really love them. What the hell do I say to that? I'm at a loss for words because I don't believe he loves them either. Do I lie to them? Tell them of course he does, he's just busy. What do I tell her? The truth? No, he doesn't really love you? I have no idea what to say to my girls. Should I even bring it up? Just not talk about it at all. Just leave the fact that their dad doesn't give a shit and has pretty much abandoned them. Just carry on as usual because let's be honest, he hasn't been part of our lives for a long time. He never really was. Not that much has changed for the girls besides the fact that they don't need to walk on eggshells for the 1 or 2 days a month he was even at home. I just don't know. Both the girls are in therapy now. We all are. Maybe this is something I should bring up there. And absolutely, that's my thoughts. I'm glad to see that OP did turn to therapy for all of them to get them through this, basically. And I definitely think that should be brought up. Like, this guy, from what we've read here, is an absolute shitty person, bad father, where these girls have had to tiptoe around him all the time, not disturb him, always told that they're being too loud. But I still imagine that they have very, very complicated feelings around it all. This is someone who's still been a part of all of their lives. And I can remember some of my thoughts and feelings around that sort of young age, and sometimes it's really hard to navigate certain things. I can only imagine that completely cutting him off out of their lives is only going to be beneficial for them in the long run, but I think it will be a difficult process to deal with at the same time. But all I can really say is I do really wish you all the best. You, your girls, your father, and your mum, of course, and I hope that, they all mend their relationships in the end. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Holy moly, what a ride that was. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.